the Pine Creek Eagles. And obviously one of the top programs in Class 4A, last won a championship in 2019. Their head coach is Todd Miller. Their players on hand today, Brent Alvey, Tanner Ragas, did I get that right? Ragas, okay. Jerry Lydiatt, Logan Mathews, Mason Miller, and Cannon Budge. Did I get Lydiatt right?
Yeah.
All right, okay. Pine Creek Eagles out of Colorado Springs, you're the lead off.
So obviously the switch to full 5A this year, including playoffs and everything, but for a couple of years you guys have already been starting that adjustment. And 6 of the 10 teams are playing this year. You played last year. How do you think that's going to help you with that full adjustment to 5A playoffs, to the week after week of 5A teams?
You want to take that? No, I think it's been a great adjustment. Just planning ahead, I think CHSAA did a good job of moving us, and that was the plan moving forward, and there was clear communication, and we kind of knew that was the expectation coming in 2 years. So these guys have lived in that league and lived in that play, you know, at that 5A atmosphere. So the adjustment, I don't think we have one in the sense of who we played and you know, the opponents and the quality of play that we'll see. But we're looking forward to it. You know, we've done scrimmages a long time coming up in Denver. Not a lot of people in Colorado Springs let us play with them, so we got to go north a lot to do things, which is fine. So we're really used to that.
What's the biggest difference in the move?
Yeah, I'd say depth. You know, our top 15 to 20 kids will match up. I think some of it is when we have an injury or we have to plug in a kid as a young kid. You know, when we go up against some of the schools that may be a little bit larger, they're plugging in a junior or maybe even a senior. So I think that is the biggest adjustment. And then at the lower level, I think numbers. You know, our freshmen, even though last year we went undefeated in our freshman season, our numbers were a little smaller than some of the other schools we played. But for the most part, I don't think there's going to be much adjustment. We're all chasing the same team, Cherry Creek. So I mean, that's not changing. So we got to figure out a way to get to them. You know, that's who we're. They've set the standard, and we're going to try to go chase them.
Brent, 2 out of the last 3 years, you guys, this year you're going to Vegas, 2 years ago playing in the New Mexico team. I mean, what is it like to get to play teams that you don't normally get to see, and then obviously this year getting to go out to Vegas for the opener? I mean, what's that experience like as players?
Yeah, it's really cool, especially because, you know, a lot of people kind of look down on Colorado football being like a low level of competition. So getting the opportunity to play teams from other states and kind of prove ourselves is really exciting.
Mason, playing a team like Logan last year in the playoffs, I mean, what are the lessons that you guys were able to learn last time through the 4A playoffs, but playing a team like that, I mean, what are the lessons you guys were able to learn last year that you can bring in this year?
Just compete. Like Loveland, we were down most of the game. We come back, the second string quarterback scored, and then we fight on the goal line, we win. We just compete. Let's keep on competing. That's the only thing we can do.
And then the expectations for your bus this year, you know, through 2013 to 2019, you dominated 4A. Probably feels like a long time since you've raised the goal ball, but what's the expectations this year for you guys, any of you?
The expectation is to win, it's to chase Cherry Creek and chase the top 5A dogs and make a name for ourselves.
You see it as a challenge?
Yeah, it's a good challenge though. It's a challenge, but it's not something that we're scared of and can't do.
Any of the players, I know that one of the biggest things about Pine Creek is year after year you guys have competed, but you've never relied on being quote unquote the biggest team, being the most physically imposing, at least from a size perspective. Moving up to 5A, but having that tradition of, you know, competing really hard despite maybe being smaller. How do you think that helps you guys year after year?
Well, we're not going to win a beauty contest. And when we walk off the bus, I mean, we're just a bunch of hard-working, scrappy kids. And I think sometimes that gets, you know, that doesn't, football doesn't equate that, right? I mean, we had as good a looking kid as you've ever had in Reese Rowan that's now throwing shot for, you know, Missouri. But that he didn't win us games. It was guys working together, and it's teamwork. It's the ultimate team game. And we said, we're very extremely honest with our players. I don't know if we're the most talented team, but we can be the best team. And that's the goal, right? That chemistry and unity that you try to build through all the weight room stuff and the way you act in the community and all the things that we do together, that's the most important thing. And if we can unify and play for each other, you're always going to have a chance. And we don't set the goal of winning the state championship. We just say, we just want to play the last day CHSAA allows us to play. That's it. We want to be here. And that's what we work for.
Okay, Logan or Tanner, I don't think you guys have made a comment, but expand on what he talks about with Pine Creek community, the community around football, because we just had Eaton, they have a great sports community. Talk about the community around Pine Creek football.
Our community's great. They're always there to support us. I think as far as the team goes, we are one of the closest knit teams there is. We truly fight to have one team and unity, and I think we do really good at that. I think that going in, one team, that just helps us be the powerhouse that we have been, and we're going to continue to be that.
Anybody else want to expand on that a little bit? Okay. What about the history of Pine Creek? I mean, are there players that have played in the past and had great success? Do they stay in touch with the program?
Yes, they do. A lot of our old players have come back to coach. Like our defensive back coach he played at Pine Creek. I think our first year, our first state championship, he won. So just, yeah, a lot of people come back and help.
Anything else, Luke? Okay. All right, guys, I think we're good. Thanks for coming. Good luck this year.